Well, hello, my friends. Bob Baker here. And in this live broadcast, I want to share with you an early experience that shaped my life. It had a profound experience on what was to come. So, this is early experience I wanted to share. So, when I was a kid, even in early elementary school, grade school, whatever you call it, like in the third ish grade, I started just writing these stories on my own. Remember I guess they still have those sheets of white paper with the blue lines. And I guess when you were in grade school, they were a little further spaced apart. And I would write these stories on two sides of one of those sheets. So they were short stories. And admittedly, these did not work great works of literature. Again, I was in the third or fourth grade. And I would write these things like they were things that I was watching. They were little sci-fi aliens or Godzilla movie inspired things that I would write, these silly things, but still I was doing this on my own outside of schoolwork. This is stuff that I just did on my own at home without being asked to do that as part of an assignment or something. And I guess even though I was a really extremely shy kid, I would start sharing these with people. And a friend of mine who I went to grade school with told me the story that I have vague memories of, but apparently I was in class one day, like passing these around to another student. And the teacher saw me and said, "What are you doing there?" And she goes, "Stand up, Bob," or Mr. Baker, whatever she called me. And I don't clearly remember this, but my friend said that she made me read one of these stories to the class, or at least that everybody became aware that I was writing these things. But the memory that really sticks out that was sort of life-changing that I've always looked back on and I've referenced a number of times over the years was when I was younger, I was a Cub Scout. There's the Boy Scouts, and then I guess when you're younger, there's the Cub Scouts, and you would meet at a leader's house. They would be called if there was a woman, it was the den mother. That was quite often one of the mothers that would lead these meetings. They would meet at their home. And so we were meeting at one of the den mothers' homes. And so all our boys are gathered around a table waiting for her to be ready to start meeting. And it was just sort of lull the conversation. Everybody's restless. And I pulled out this latest story and I said, "Hey, I wrote a new story." I guess, like I said, at this point, the word had gotten around. I'd shared enough with them that they were aware of that. And I just remember all of these boys, these hands, like reaching out to me and go, "I want to read it." I would they all wanted to be the first to read it. So I just had a single copy of it. It was handwritten. And I remember that something stuck in my young mind. And it's something I've looked back on many times over the years, that here was a group of people that were eager to read and consume something that I had created, something that started in my mind as an idea, just a creative idea that I took the time to write out in a form that then could be consumed by other people. Of course, I wasn't using these terms in third or fourth grade, and that there were people interested in reading it. And it just really struck me as, wow, that's really cool. An idea I had in my mind, I created it, and then I was able to share it with other people. And that's a theme that has just repeated itself over and over throughout my life. And so it's no wonder that years later, I started publishing like a local music newspaper, covered the local music scene. Another passion of mine I had pretty early on was music, and I combined those two things. And so, yeah, I was on a larger scale. I was publishing a print newspaper in my hometown of St. Louis that was distributed widely and read by a lot of people. And no wonder that led to me publishing books. There again, taking ideas that started in my head, creating a tangible version of them. Of course, now there's digital options, but still a version that people could read without me being physically present, to communicate it to them. And it's just happened. Now I'm doing YouTube videos and affirmations. And so that seed was planted early on that, wow, you can take an idea in your head, create a version of it that can be consumed by other people, and then spread it around. Of course, in grade school, I had that single copy of it that I had to pass around. But when I did the newspaper, then I had multiple copies of it that were distributed across my whole city. And then when I got online, and my early books, you may or may not know, were on the topic of music marketing. And I would write these like articles that I freely gave away to sort of give musicians little tips on a particular topic. And at the end of it, I would ask them to contact me to get on my email list I was building starting back in the mid-90s. And so this is just a reoccurring theme. So I want you to think about that. Like, how could you use this concept, taking an idea in your head, creating a version of it, content, videos, whatever, a podcast, so many options these days, But do you have early experiences like that shaped your life? or maybe they didn't shape your life, but you think back on those things that you did when you were a kid. And have you been following that instinct or scratching that itch over the years? I'm curious. So leave a comment here. So I hope sharing the story with you sparked an idea in you that you can then take and share with other people. All right. Have an awesome day. This is Bob Baker saying so long for now.